Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of Gangland, London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to County Lyons and modern-day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
There was a relentless and horrific attack that followed. So ferocious that it almost severed Steven Daniels' nose from his face, and it detached his top jaw from his skull. The police initially thought what had happened was he had been shot in the face. That is how severe his injuries were.
In the shadows of Glasgow, where old rivalries spill blood and power is paid for in fear, one man's name has become legend. Steven Bonzo Daniels, survivor, leader, and a scarred reminder of how dangerous this city's underworld can be. On a spring night in May 2017, a high-speed chase tore through the M8 motorway. Daniels was cornered by his enemies, and what followed was one of the most brutal gangland attacks Scotland had ever seen. To understand Bonzo, you have to understand his bloodline. Born into Glasgow's most feared crime family, Steven Daniels inherited more than just a name. He was the nephew of Jamie Daniel, known as the Dapper Don, a man who ruled North Glasgow's drug trade for decades. When Jamie died of cancer in 2016, a power vacuum opened. The family's enemies, the Lyons clan, were ready to strike, but Bonzo was just as ready to fight back. By Bonzo's side were trusted allies, his cousin Francis Fraggle Green, enforcer Craig Rob Roy Gallagher, and the volatile Spencer Mellors, known as Hannibal the Cannibal. Together, they kept the family business alive. But across the city, the Lyons family, with ties to Dublin and Dubai cartels, plotted revenge. This was no petty feud. This was a war. On May 18th, 2017, Bonzo was lured into a trap. Chased at over 100 miles an hour through the city, he was cornered and hacked with machetes, hammers and cleavers. Doctors said his injuries looked like gunshot wounds. His attackers left him mutilated. His jaw was split, his tongue shredded, his face sliced open, but Bonzo survived. And when police asked him who did it, he simply said, "F off." Police say the 37-year-old, whose uncle was Gangland chief Jamie Daniel, is in a stable condition in hospital and that they are treating the attack as attempted murder. Daniel was driving a taxi, a dark blue Skoda Octavia, south on Saracen Street when he realized that two cars, a Volkswagen and an Audi, were following him. The two cars chased Daniel and crashed into him on Craighall Road, just off the motorway at Port Dundas. The thugs got out and knifed him before driving off. The attack allegedly happened just after midnight, in the early hours of a Thursday morning. Craighall Road was cordoned off as a taxi was being inspected, causing chaos for commuters throughout most of the day. Since the incident, a VW Golf and Audi have been discovered burned out on Balmouldy Road in Bishopbriggs and Forge Street, Germiston, respectively. Officers initially thought a gun was involved, but later confirmed the weapon was a knife. Detective Chief Inspector John Kennedy said it appeared to have been a targeted attack and reassured the public about their safety. He added, "I appreciate that people will automatically want to link this to other incidents in the past few months, but until I know more, I am unable to confirm that is the case. The local community will be concerned by this incident, but I have a team of experienced detectives dedicated to this inquiry to establish the full circumstances. There are also high-visibility patrols by uniformed officers throughout the local area. There are brothers, sisters, parents and other family members who know exactly what is going on and who is behind it. This victim is someone's son, and if there are people out there who know anything about who is responsible, I'd urge them to do the right thing and contact us." Police are looking for connections to recent gangland incidents, including the shooting of Daniel's cousin, Robert Daniel, in March. Steven Daniel has been linked to Glasgow private hire firm Key Cars, and his mother, Annette Daniel, is known to be head of a professional shoplifting gang. Despite the scars, Bonzo remains a major player in Glasgow's cocaine trade, allegedly earning millions through street-level dealers, laundering cash through taxis and businesses, and keeping his family's grip on the city. The feud between the Lyons and Daniel families began in 2001 when a consignment of cocaine belonging to the Daniels was stolen from a house in the Milton area of Glasgow and sold by the Lyons. In January 2010, Daniel family enforcer Kevin Gerbil Carroll was shot and killed by a masked man while sitting in an Audi A3 in an Asda car park in Robroyston, Glasgow. Ross Monaghan was acquitted of Carroll's murder in May 2012. Monaghan survived a shooting in 2017 when he was wounded in the shoulder as he dropped off his daughter at a primary school in Glasgow. He subsequently moved to Spain's Costa del Sol. But Bonzo keeps bad company. He has been seen regularly attending football games with a drug-dealing rapist nicknamed Hannibal the Cannibal. Clan boss Steven Bonzo Daniels, who was left seriously disfigured after being ambushed, regularly attends matches with Spencer Mellors. Mellors was jailed in 1996 for 9 years after holding a prostitute hostage for 9 hours, raping her and biting her. He was later locked up for 4 years in 2008 after being caught with 100,000 worth of drugs and was quizzed over the street shooting of Glasgow Gran Louise Brown in the same year. He was also twice jailed for domestic abuse. Daniel, 43, and Mellors, 58, have been seen together at a number of Rangers matches and were recently photographed together in the crowd at Hampden during the Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic. They were at McDiarmid Park for the St Johnstone match earlier this season and were also at Fir Park together for the tie against Motherwell. They're basically joined at the hip. Bonzo is a very private guy given his status, the previous attempt on his life and attacks on associates. A source said, "I've seen them both plenty at Ibrox this season. They've also been to away matches as well." He must really trust Spencer to let him in and have been with him so much. If something was to kick off, Spencer is exactly the kind of guy you'd want to have by your side. Last year, a home linked to Bonzo was targeted by masked thugs who rammed a car into the porch, leaving the property badly damaged. The £340,000 villa in Bishopbriggs, near Glasgow, is owned by his partner Avril Connell and was bought in 2003. It is rumoured that the attack was part of the deadly Daniels and Lyons family feud that just rages on and on. Police have issued threat-to-life warnings, so-called Osman warnings, to key crime figures involved in the feud, which has lasted more than a decade. So far, more than 60 gang members, including their families, have been told their life is in danger. It is understood detectives have been given a bigger budget to crack down on the activities of both clans. Officers have also been visiting associates in teams of 6 to administer disruption notices, which are handed out when police have intelligence that an individual is about to commit a crime. Among those to get both disruption notices and Osman warnings are Steven Daniel, Robert Daniel, Francis Fraggle, Green, son of crime boss Jamie Daniel, and Lyons Lieutenant Victor Gallagher. An Underworld source said, "Police are on top of everyone they think is linked to the gangs. They are spending a lot of money trying to get this feud under control. Detectives have let it be known who they are out to get. They've even been going round people loosely connected to the gangs and telling them that their lives are in danger. Police have clearly been told they need to bring the violence to an end." The wave of violence was sparked in January when Lyons gang member Ross Monaghan, 35, was shot in the shoulder after he dropped his daughter off at school in Peniley, Glasgow. Former soldier Martin Fitzsimmons has been charged in connection with the shooting. Days after his arrest in May, Fitzsimmons' brother Ryan was targeted in a knife attack outside his home in Clydebank. Jamie Daniels' son, Francis Green, had shots fired at his home in Milton of Campsie, north of Glasgow, in February. In March, Bonzo's cousin, drug dealer Robert Daniel, was shot in the arm outside his home in Steps. Convicted gunrunner James Gorman, 57, had his face slashed in May for harbouring Lyons' enemy Ross Sherlock in his Postle flat while he was being hunted by police. And last month, another family member, Jamie Daniel, 41, was injured in a knife attack in Liddlesdale Road in Glasgow's Milton. He is the brother of Robert Daniel and was named after his late crime boss, Uncle Jamie. Last week, Hardman Craig Rob Roy Gallagher, 38, was stabbed and set on fire at a derelict house in New Stevenston, Lanarkshire, before fleeing when the building exploded in a fireball. Gallagher, who is believed to have addiction problems, drove 6 miles to Monklands Hospital in Airdrie and was then transferred to Glasgow Royal Infirmary. But Gallagher, a former friend of dead gangster Kevin Gerbil Carroll, left hospital 2 days after the attack against medical advice. Gallagher and Carroll formed the notorious alien abduction gang, who robbed rival dealers of cash and drugs. They got their nickname because victims told police they could not remember what had happened when questioned. Lyons associate Billy Paterson was convicted of assassinating Carroll in an Asda car park in Robroyston, Glasgow, in 2010 and jailed for at least 22 years. Another of Carroll's associates, Ross Sherlock, 35, has had 6 attempts made on his life since he got involved in the turf war. 2 men were cleared at the High Court in Glasgow of trying to shoot him outside a primary school in Bishopbriggs in 2015 as he collected his daughter. In March, he was stabbed in the neck with a makeshift knife while coming out of a church service in Low Moss Prison in Bishopbriggs, where he was on remand. An attempt was also made on his life as he arrived at five-a-side football pitches last October. In Glasgow's Gangland, few walk away. Fewer still survive a machete ambush and live to tell the tale. Steven Bonzo Daniels remains a scarred survivor, a warning of how far men will go to hold on to power, and how far their enemies will go to take it away.